Good evening, and thank you for joining us on another edition of the Englewood Call. My name is Sonya Harper. This is Jauwan Hall, and we are the Resident Association of Greater Englewood. We invite you to give us a call anytime at 866-845-1032. We have an exciting topic tonight. We're going to be talking about politics, civic education in Englewood. And the most important thing we're going to be doing tonight is profiling one of our very own Rage members, Mr. Jauwan Hall. Good evening, Mr. Jauwan. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm well.
That's
Thank
good.
you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, we're going to dive into our evening's topic. But before we do, we got to let you know who we are and how you can get in contact with us. Again, we are the Residents Association of Greater Englewood. You can reach us at www.rageenglewood.org. You can always give us a call 1-866-845-1032 or email us at joinrage@gmail.com. And we are always on social media. You can always visit us on our social media pages, on our Facebook and on our Twitter. And also, just to let you know who we are and how you can become a part of us. There we go. We were founded. I wanted to make sure you had the right slide on, but we were founded in November of 2010. And again, we're a resident-driven association established to build relationships with fellow residents, businesses, organizations, and all. Now, we are an asset-based organization that strategizes and uses our own solutions to address our own community problems. Who are the members of RAGE? Well, everyone who resides in the community and outside is welcome to be a part of our resident association. We have 6 different wards in Englewood. In case you forgot them, they are the 15th Ward, the 16th Ward, the 20th Ward, the 6th Ward, and what's the other one? The 17th Ward. And that's kind of important as we move into our topic tonight. Just take a closer look at that map, because we're going to be talking about the importance of those wards and the importance of people being civically involved and paying attention to our ward lines, our ward leaders, and what we can do to be a more active constituency in all of those wards that encompass our tiny little neighborhood. And so again, that's how you can get in contact with us. But I want to go ahead and dive into our topic tonight and honor our RAGE member, Jauwan Hall. He is currently a senior, majoring in political science at the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Is this at the University of Illinois?
At Chicago.
At Chicago. Yes. So awesome. He's also minoring in history. And he's a smart guy, girls. He's a member of the Honors College, a transfer student, and also a military vet. His past leadership experiences include secretary of the Black Student Union and even membership in the Pre-Law Society and the Students Veterans Association. Very important, I think everyone should know, is Jauwan was also selected and voted to be a member of the UIC student delegation that traveled to Washington, D.C. to advocate on behalf of UIC for the proposal of the Barack Obama Presidential Library. Mr. Hall is also a student intern at the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Illinois. Wow, that is a wonderful, wonderful resume. And you're not even out of college yet.
No, not yet.
Look at you. Look at you. What office are you running for?
No.
No, I'm just joking. But anyway, we're not here talking about what offices people are running for, but we're talking about the importance of folks in our community paying attention to those offices, not just in our local community, but on every level, and the importance of us just knowing what's going on in politics and being involved, right? Just off hearing the title of our topic tonight, civic engagement and participation in Englewood, what would be your biggest concern or issue or the biggest thing you would like to comment on as we dive into tonight's topic?
I think people being strategic and understanding what the issues are. Strategically understanding issues as they pertain to communities. I think a lot of times we get so wrapped up around, right here, right now, and we get kind of emotional with the things that we want to address in the communities that we don't think strategically, like how can we actually go about creating some substantive change, and what does that plan really look like? So I think That would probably be the biggest thing. Just strategically thinking about the issues.
Gotcha. And so, Jauwan, I've read this wonderful resume, and you're involved on so many levels and so many different things. What are some of those initiatives that you are currently involved in that have had effective methods or strategies in bringing people in and getting them civically involved?
Yeah.
Tell me your experiences with those.
So I mean, civic education is something that I've always been kind of passionate about. But as far as like things that I've been involved in that have like had substantive impact like recently would probably have to be like almost absolutely none, right? Like that's one of the issues. The issue is that we haven't had anything that's been able to engage people and to get them involved and to bring forth some real substantive change.
And when you talk about we, who is we in this sense?
Just society as a whole.
Okay.
Right? I mean, just in general, we haven't been able to come together to do that. So I mean, it's not just Englewood, but Woodlawn as well, right? It's not just the 16th ward, the 5th ward as well, right? I mean, it's really the entire city of Chicago.
Sure. So what would you say, what are the hindrances of political participation, especially in our neighbors? Is it just a lack of information? Is it just apathy, or is there something else?
I think it's a combination of, all of the things you just said, plus the fact that I think people are kind of just jaded with the system. We see, elected official after elected official come through, make promises, but, the things that they say are going to happen aren't really felt, right? So, somebody comes through and says, I'm going to make the community safer, but people don't feel safe. People come through and they say, well, I'm going to create jobs, but, my cousin Tyrone still ain't got no job. So, like those, I think people are really just kind of tired of hearing those things. And so I think it becomes difficult for people to even want to engage the system after hearing so many empty promises. So.
What, in your experience or in your training, or maybe this is future training for you, but what's some of the solutions to that?
I mean, I think, solutions as far as like getting people involved.
Because clearly that is not a problem in other communities with like high voter turnout or high civic participation.
Well, I think those other communities probably have high turnout because they see results and they know that their vote actually matters, right?
So do you think that perhaps it's us, it's people in our communities being able to see those results? Maybe the fact, because I always make this argument, right? Especially because we always want to talk bad about the politicians,
right.
But maybe maybe we're looking at the wrong thing. Maybe it's the politicians that aren't really showing us the results, and so people can't make an educated. Right. Decision on if something is being done.
It's definitely not just it's definitely not just elected officials, right? I think it's elected officials. It's people who don't know where to find information as well. I mean, that's a huge issue. People don't know where to go get information from. We have business owners, right? Business owners aren't as active as they could be. So again, that's why I say it's us, right? There's a collective. There's an entire collective that has a responsibility to be politically engaged, to be civically engaged. And I don't think it's definitely not just one sector. So I mean, it's not all on elected officials. We can't expect elected officials to come in and just snap their fingers and magically make Englewood a better place, or magically make Englewood what somebody envisions it to be. But we definitely that's definitely something that I think that is within the control of people to change. We can hold elected officials accountable. We can educate ourselves around the issues that exist, and strategically think of ways to come up with solutions.
I gotcha. So when you say the words information and you say the words education, like we know what those blanketly mean, but as it relates to getting people civically involved,
right.
What specifically do we have to inform them about? What specifically do we have to educate them about to make them get up and go vote, or get up and come to a meeting, or get up and believe that what they say will actually take some type of effect?
Well, I definitely think one of the biggest things we can do is just educate people in regard to like how economics is connected to politics, right? So like the intersection between the two, between politics and economics, right?
Gotcha.
Because a lot of people, again, like people are disenchanted because they continuously see these repetitive negative things happening in their communities. you know, people don't have jobs, people don't have access to jobs, people don't have access to education. And it's like, you know, how can I get this? Well, you know, I think if we let people know like how they can get these things, you know, through political education, through civic education, you know, it might motivate people to get involved. You know, if you know, if we tell people, well, this particular candidate has this particular, you know, policy plan. This particular candidate has this particular, you know, vision, or he aligns with this, and they want to put resources into this. They want to put resources into that. And this right here, this specific thing that they want to do can create jobs for you. This specific thing that we want to do can, you know, create opportunities for you to go to a quality school, or can make the neighborhood school that you currently have next to you better. Those are things that I think we need to, you know, just kind of connect the dots.
I gotcha. And one of my questions would be, what is the vehicle that does that, right? So you're talking about you going and you educating people about the intersection of economic and politics. Well, whose job is it to do that?
I mean, it's everybody's job. You know, like this. I mean,
I know technically it is everybody's job, but today in 2015 in Englewood, where we got an election coming up, next year, and then 2 years after that, we want to get people to vote. How are we doing that on a daily basis? What are we doing to educate our neighbors and to inform them and to give them these lessons in economics and politics? What does that look like? Because I think that's the work that needs to be done. You say in order to get these people up and voting. Well, what does that look like on a daily basis, and whose responsibility is that? Whether it's knocking on doors, doing teach-ins, in your opinion, who?
Well, I've actually, you know, I'm in the process right now of working on something like that. So I've actually decided to take the initiative. So I guess it's my job. So
hey,
I guess the onus is on me now.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, but I, you know, again, like it realistically, it won't just be me. But I definitely, you know, been seeking out other individuals who are like-minded, who want to, you know, see people civically engaged, who want to educate others around the issues that exist. And right now, the plan is, right now we're kind of like in a planning stage. So, you know, like figuring out what exactly does a strategic plan look like to, you know, come up with a program to motivate people to become civically engaged. You know, how can we bring forth the issues in order for, you know, everybody to understand at the most basic level how voting, how not voting impacts your lives.
No, you're absolutely right. And you're right on target. In fact, what we're talking about right now sounds exactly like one of the initiatives that Rage has been at the forefront of for the past couple of years, since 2012, and that's our Englewood Votes campaign.
Yes.
Right? And our Englewood Votes campaign is all about educating people on the issues, educating them on the political process, getting them physically registered to vote, and then turning them out on election day. And our whole premise behind that is what you said. Higher voter turnout means we get to see those better results in our community. At least that's what we think.
Yeah, and it means we get to hold people accountable as well. So those people who, you know, we do elect, or who have been elected that haven't been doing such a great job, or, you know, who haven't delivered results, who haven't been able to come up with plans to make the communities better, we can hold them accountable as well by having higher voter turnouts, especially if people have the facts, right? Like not just the emotional, you know, feel good stuff or feel bad stuff, you know, but the actual facts, like this is what it is, you know, this is how it's been, and this is what it is. This was the unemployment rate in Englewood in 2010. This is the unemployment rate now.
And this is how it happened.
Right, and this is how it happened. And this is the elected official who oversaw that. This is the person who was unable to come up with a plan to fix this. They've done this for 4 years. Do we want 4 more years of this? Like, those are the things that, you know, I think we just need to figure out a way to articulate to people so that, you know, they can want to engage with the process.
Sounds good. So one of the things already in this whole topic for tonight is that our community needs more training and needs more opportunities. Not just our community, but communities similar to ours, and being more civically involved in civic engagement. I don't know if this maybe is a topic to a question, you know, over our heads because of our age, but I would love to hear your thoughts on. You know, I know that the voter turnout that we have in Englewood, which kind of is hovering around very low. I believe for the last election, it was on the front page of the paper that West Englewood had the lowest voter turnout in the last election. And I'm trying to figure out in my mind, when did that change take place and how? I don't know, did you have any thoughts about that? I'm sure we have not always been voting like that, but
Yeah.
what things have taken place that have like systematically not just made our voter turnout, but I guess that's our gauger of civic participation as well. But what do you think those things across the years have lent to our decrease in civic participation?
Now that I don't know. I don't know.
No, that's okay.
I do not know.
I did say that question is probably a little bit over our heads because we're a little bit younger.
Yeah, so I mean, like, historically, I mean, like, that's something, like, I haven't really, like, looked at. I know what's happening right now, right? So, but I don't know, like, historically, like, what the voter turnout has been in specific areas. I do know that the population in Englewood is no longer what it once was.
So, that's a big part of it.
That's a huge issue. I really believe that the biggest issue that faces us right now, just as citizens, right, is the role that money plays in politics. I think that's a huge thing that
Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's delve a little bit into more about the role that money plays in politics, because in a community that's always labeled as low income and being on food stamps and not able to hold down a job and not able to be able to afford to own a home. This is what the world tells us about ourselves. How does that play into politics? Talk a little bit about money and civic engagement, or money in politics.
I think money is one of the reasons that people are jaded with the political process, right? Like, I can't go buy an alderman, So at the end of the day, if there's a corporate CEO who decides to go fund somebody's election, regardless of what my needs are, that elected official is 9 times out of 10 going to vote, for the person. And he's going to vote in favor of whatever that policy is, in favor of the person who funded his election. And so I think, like, that's a huge issue. Like, that's a huge problem, especially when, again, when you're talking about underserved communities that don't have access to the same resources as, as others. When you're trying to compare Englewood to a Gold Coast, right? Like, that's a huge.
But you just can't do that, right? You can't compare Englewood to a Gold Coast. And actually, what we're talking about here, you're talking about the fact that how money, it can't be used to buy elections and sway elections. And, that's also kind of been used as the reason why people don't vote, right? Because everybody feels that way is fixed. However, what do we do to overcome that notion in Englewood, right? For example, I have a wonderful mentor who told me that, Sonya, we might not have money power, but we have people power.
We do, and I totally agree.
So tell me a little bit, what do you think about that? Englewood, we might not have money power yet, but we have people power. And how can we use that to overcome those challenges?
So I think I had a professor of mine once told me something that was, like, extremely profound, right? We were talking about, like, the political process and how to overcome, just issues, and how to win elections, right? And we pretty much talked about, like, how you have three ways in which you can win an election. Either you can generate media, you can raise a whole lot of money, you can mobilize people, right? So when you're talking about poor communities, the only thing that they have is the ability to mobilize people. So I think one of the things that those poor communities can do is just find, really just look for somebody who they believe in, right? I mean, when people have candidates who they believe in, regardless of what, the money situation looks like, regardless of what, how much media press that person is getting in the mainstream media, people will come out and vote. Like, I mean, that's just real. I mean, we saw that with President Obama. People believed in President Obama. People showed up and showed out for President Obama, not just once, but twice. And
so that, like you said, that's a great display of where people power, or another way that we can refer to people power is what we're talking about today, civic engagement, right? Because there's no way to get power from people unless they're organized. And there's no way to organize the people unless you engage with them in a civic manner. And you can't organize them unless you communicate them with them. And we can go on and on and on. But what you just told me is that us in Englewood, if we can get this civic engagement thing right, I don't know if I'm making, too many assumptions here, but you're telling me that if we get the civic engagement thing right, that we got people power, and that can override the money power.
That can override a lot of power.
And
We got some people.
You said your professor said you either need the media,
You need the media,
money, or the people.
Or the people.
I think in Englewood we got 2 of those out of 3.
I think so.
And I think we almost got 3 out of 3. So,
Okay.
what do you guys? I wish this was a call-in show so we could take some callers and see what other people have to say. But thank you for chiming in on the intersection of money and politics because. I mean, I think that that's also another reason why people might not vote. They might not think that we have enough money to even make our dreams come true. So why even try, right? So what did we say to those people? The people who are watching today, the voters, the non-voters, the people of Englewood who we want to get more civically involved in Englewood. What are we saying to them today? Go ahead.
To vote?
To vote, to get more civically involved, right? To get more informed
reach out
and
to
educated.
Rage and Englewood votes. And be looking out for good things to come, specifically around civic engagement, especially since we have a presidential election coming up and primaries in March of next year.
Gotcha. I want to talk a little bit about the youth and kind of this intergenerational thing as it relates to civic engagement. We know our elders and our grandparents provided wonderful examples of civic engagement, those who were involved in the 60s and 70s and everything, and especially in community in Englewood has a long history of organizing, but we're just not seeing that come back today. But what do you think we need to be teaching our youth, our high school students about civic engagement? Do you think that the schools that we have now concentrate on it? Did you go to school in Englewood?
I went to Leo.
You went to Leo.
I went to Leo.
Did they teach civic engagement there or any types of that?
Yeah. So I mean, of course, I think everybody has to take the Constitution test.
Okay, so yeah, everybody takes the Constitution.
Yeah, but I mean, I was involved in civic engagement just as a result of my own family, my own upbringing.
Gotcha.
So it was a little bit different for me. I'm not sure what the schools do specifically. I definitely think it's something that we should be giving young people in school, though. I don't think it's something they should necessarily have to go outside of the school to get. They shouldn't have to, spend their time on the weekends learning about something that they, that impacts their life on a daily basis.
Gotcha. What were some of the ways that you learned about being involved in community when you were a youth?
My father used to take me out to go help people campaign. So
really? So you worked on campaigns as a youth?
I can remember being 8, 9 years old, asking my father to take me to go get some shoes, and he told me if I wanted to get them, I had to go knock on people's doors and pass out literature. So
I made that face because I do that same thing to my daughter, but that's good because she's gonna grow up and be just as wonderful as you. So yeah, that is awesome. How can we be ushering more of our youth into those types of opportunities and programs? In what way can we do that? Because I think they are going to be the future of Englewood. They're the ones driving. They're the ones on the front of the TV screens at night being made out to be villains.
Yeah.
How big of a part do you think that youth could be playing in civic participation and even in politics?
Yeah, I think they can play a huge role.
Tell me some examples and ways that we.
They can work on campaigns now, right? I mean, they can make phone calls. They can, be typing up literature. They can research candidates. They can research voting patterns. I mean, they can look at a lot of different things in order for them to get involved in the process. So, I mean, it's a bunch of things they can do. I mean, just the only thing that they can't do is vote, right? And so, I mean, we know that there are a lot of other things that go into campaign, and we know that there are a lot of other things that go into the political process. The only thing that you can't do if you're not 18 is vote. So, I mean, you can do a lot.
Gotcha. And as we get ready to close out here tonight, I just want to ask you, in closing, what made you become a member of the Resident Association of Greater Englewood? And what would you say to your neighbors as far as your views on civic participation to close us out for tonight?
What made me join Rage? Aisha did.
Aisha? Who's Aisha?
Aisha, the president of
Aisha Butler.
Aisha Butler,
the wonderful, our fearless leader.
Fearless leader, yes.
That's right.
So while I was at Kennedy King, I was a student government president when I was at Kennedy King. And somebody who I was following on Twitter retweeted something that Aisha put out about an event that was happening at Chicago State. I went to the event, I talked to Aisha, and then from there I just kind of stayed in touch with the organization. At the time I wasn't living in Englewood yet, but about a year later I ended up moving into Englewood, and then from there I kind of just reconnected with Aisha, and the rest is history, I guess.
Cool. How does rage fit into your own personal passions or things in life?
Rage has kind of just, really just given me a platform to be able to try to build around some of my own interests. So, specifically around youth development, my interest in civic engagement. Being able to talk to Aisha about some of the things that I want to do, she just kind of just gave me the green light and said, make it happen.
All right. And on that note, we're going to make it happen and end this show. And thank you for joining us on the Englewood Call, Resident Association of Greater Englewood. Good night.